Hi guys, welcome back on my channel for another music production tutorial. In this video I will show you how I mix this track. This is a track that I made for BeatStars. So it's a really simple one. There's only 14 tracks and I will show you from the beginning, from my creation stage until my mixing stage, how I did this. So like you know, I like to produce in Ableton because the workflow is really fast for me, and then afterwards I export the stems and I mix them in Logic Pro. So this track is, like I said, really simple. What I like to do when I create a new track is to choose sounds that are going to help me when I'm going to mix them. What do I mean by that is that try to choose sounds that sound already good without any processing and sounds that fits together, so you don't have to do too much processing and it doesn't get too messy in your project. So what I do in my creative stage, I only do volume automation and sidechaining so that instruments are getting out of the way of each other. But let's dive into it and see what I exactly do on each separate channel. So on my kick, I just did some volume automation. On my bass, I just put it a FabFilter Saturn for the side chaining. On the clap, there is nothing. For the hi-hats, I used FabFilter Timeless and I automated the dry-wet level just to have some movement in the hats. And I also did some volume automation at some places. For the shakers, like you see here, it's a sample that's already panned, and I like to use an auto panner in my mixing. So what I did for the shakers, I just put it utility on it and I put it mono again. So I will be able to use it again in the mix, but then with an auto panner. So for the pads, the only thing I used is the one knob pumper, and what does that do? It's just the same than if you're using a compressor to sidechain. It's just ducking, it's just pumping like the name tells you. The only difference is that with the one knob you just have to turn the knob. You turn the knob instead of selecting a sidechain source or sidechain key. So it's really easy and it's really fast to work with. With my plug, I also used the FabFilter Saturn for the side chaining, and then for the strings and for the piano, I used the compressor, both. So for the kick, to sidechain with the kick. For my piano, I choose to sidechain with the arpeggiator, so that when the arpeggiator is playing, the piano is going out of the way. And for the strings, I also sidechain it with the kick and with the plug, so when the plug is playing, my strings are going out of the way. And for the rest, I have just a riser, 2 impacts and an uplifter. That's the only thing I had in this track. So now I already exported the stems, and now let's go to Logic Pro to start the mixing. So in my previous video I showed you how I prepare my mix. It's always in the same methodic way. So every channel is on -18 dB. I have on every channel a spectrum analyzer and a EQ. On my master I have the sound ID, and I'm using my headphones now, so I'm selecting them. I put a limiter. My spectrum analyzer on my master is a very important one to see the whole mix. And also my imager. Now, a little trick I use, when you start mixing and you have a big project, sometimes it starts to be really messy, really quick. So I always put my spectrum analyzer on top. And when my spectrum analyzer is not on top anymore, that means I already worked on that channel. So if I forget a channel, I can see it really quickly also because my spectrum analyzer is still on top. So just a little trick I use for myself. Now, before I'm going to start the mixing, I will choose some channels to be mono. So my kick will be mono, my clap will be mono, my hi-hat, and later on maybe we will put some instrument in mono also if needed. So before I start, I will also check my limiter, because if it's already hitting the limiter, I have to put him down a little bit so that I can start mixing and not directly into my limiter. Okay, it was already hitting the limiter, so I had to put him down. So when you export the stems, you also will have the master of your previous projects, so of my project in Ableton, and I will use that to compare my mix with how it was and how it is. So let's listen. Okay, for the moment there's not a big difference, which is normal, but you will see later on in the process, you will hear hopefully a big difference. Okay, so now when I'm starting my mix, I will start with a part where a lot of instruments are playing together, and I always start with my drums, my kick, my clap, and so on. So let's start mixing. Okay, what I like to do is put my kick in the center, put my clap in the center, and to put my clap a little bit behind the kick, I use some small reverb. My hi-hats, most of the time I pan them to the left or to the right, so this one I will pan maximum 10 to the left. And with my shakers, I like to use an auto pan so that every drum's got his own space and his own place in the mix. So that's already the most important thing to start my mix. You can also see with the FabFilter Pro Q3 which instruments are playing in the same area than the instrument that you're treating. And here I can see that the shaker is playing in the same area than my hi-hat. So I will take a little bit down of my hi-hat to make some place for the shaker. Okay, for the shaker I like to use the rectangle. and to have it left, right, like this. Yes. Let's listen if there is already a difference. Yes, you can hear already a big difference. Now I'm gonna put my pad a little bit in the back, because you see I have 4 instruments playing together. I will choose this part because I have my pad, I have my plug, my strings and my piano playing all together. So I have to give them a place so that the mix is still sounding open. So my pad, I will push them in the back with a reverb, and I think, in my opinion, one of the best reverb plugins is the Black Hole from Eventide. So that's the first thing I will do, and then afterwards what I will do also with my pad is I'm gonna use an imager to pan him to the left or to the right. It will depend. I will see what's the best thing to do, because when you see at the track here, you see in the beginning that the pad is playing together with the piano, and it's most of the time together with the piano. So I will have to make a choice. I put my pad left and my piano right, for example, but I have to keep in mind that my piano has got to be the opposite side than my pad. So for that I will not do that with the regular panner, but I just will do it with Waves S1 Imager. I think it's a really nice plugin also to pan the things. Another important thing to do is when you EQ when you do some EQing, don't do it separately. So don't solo the sound and don't EQ it and then put it back in the mix, because it's really important that you do the EQing in the mix itself so that it fits best together with the other instruments. For example, this pad, I can hear there is a lot of low end who will play in the same area than my bass line, so I will need to take that off and to EQ that, but I will do that while listening to the other instruments. So let's do it. The same thing with my piano, but I will narrow down the image of the piano and I will pan it more to the right. Piano and the pad together. Really start to hear the difference. Okay, my strings needs to get really more in the back because they are too present in the mix, and this is a beat. So somebody is going to sing on it. There are going to be some vocals, so I don't want these strings to be in the way of the vocals. So I will push them also to the back with some reverb. But I already did this on the channel itself with the pad. So what I will do for the strings, I will do it in a return track or in a bus track. So I'm going to show you a little trick. First of all, I'm going to use another reverb, so not the same one than the pad. I'll put it on 100% because it's in a return track. Okay. Then what I will do is I will use a compressor, not to compress, but to sidechain the strings with themselves. And I'm not going to sidechain the strings, but the reverb of the strings. So I put the auto gain off. I'm going to sidechain it, and then listen to this. So this is the reverb of my strings. You hear the difference without the compressor? It's really ducking the muddy parts. And then another one I like to do is to use, again from Waves, the one knob pumper, just to put the pump on the reverb, only on the reverb. This one I'm going to pan him also because I don't want my strings to be in the middle. Yes. I'm going to use the same trick for my pluck, I think, but then with another reverb, with the Eventide one, with the black hole. Again, I sidechain the reverb with the instrument itself. What I see with this instrument is that there are two peaks, these two, and these two peaks will cause me some trouble when will push the master. So I need to take care of this already now. So I'm gonna put them a little bit down, and then I have something to do during the mastering, but it will get me less trouble if I treat them already now. So I think there are two things left, two instruments left, and the rest are just effects. I have my arpeggiator and I have my bass line. So I will do first my arpeggiator, which is this one. So it's playing together with my piano and with my pad, but my piano is more in front, so I will pan my arpeggiator on the opposite side of my piano again. To get him out of the way. Side chaining. Now we still have to EQ our bass line. That's an important one. I like to EQ my bass line together with my kick, and then when the kick and the bass line are matched and EQ'd, I EQ then my bass line with the rest of the instruments. The first thing I like to do on the bass line is to use the stereo spread from Melda Production, because I'm able to select an area where it stays mono and the stereo comes afterwards. So here I choose everything under 250 Hertz will be mono, the rest is stereo. Okay, what I also like to do on my bass lines is to put a bit crusher. Okay, I guess my kick is playing somewhere here because I pushed it around 52, 53. So now I have to take the bass line a little bit down in that area. What I also like to do is to check for the crossover point. It's somewhere here. And then to change this one. Oops, sorry, that's the wrong one. It's this one I need to change. Okay. Nope. So, let's start over again. Okay. still got to do the effects. So let's start with the riser. You can see already it's panned from itself, so I don't need to do some panning or auto panning, but I just like to push it a little bit in the back with some reverb. I think it's gonna be necessary. Okay, and the next one is the impact. Okay, what I like to do with the impact is to use delay, sample delay, and delay slightly one side. And also I like to use the black hole to make it a little bit longer. Okay, so now there is the uplift. Which is obviously too loud. Same trick here. I will use again my sample delay. Okay, and a little bit of reverb. Okay. And then I have another impact here which needs to be EQ'd in the lows. Okay, perfect. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to listen to the whole track. I'm going to adjust a little bit the volumes if needed, and I'm going to check between my master from Ableton and this mix, and then at the same time I will check my spectrum analyzer to see if what I hear and if the spectrum is filled like it should be. So let's take a look. Now you can really hear the difference between the mix and the original one. Impact still a little bit too loud. That's better. Okay, that sounds really good, I think. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave it like this, because tomorrow I will listen again to the mix and I'm sure I will hear some things that I don't hear now. So for me, this part is done. It's just to show you how I mix my tracks. The track is not done for me because I need to do a second, a second listen to it. And tomorrow I will finish it, and then afterwards I can master it, and then I can post it on BeatStars. Now, I just wanted to show you also that I have the limiter. It's not playing in the limiter, so when I will export it, you see I will have a lot of headroom, and I need this headroom because my way to master needs a lot of headroom. I have minus 18 dB, so that's perfect. So I hope you learned something from this video. If you have some questions, please ask them in the comment below, and please subscribe to my channel if you want to have some more music production tricks. Thank you for watching and see you next time.